Don't be shy. Squeeze in. Nobody cares if you stop.
All right. Here you go. All right, guys, let's get started on learning some stuff. All right, first things first, I gotta just give you the purpose of this whole program. Pretty much everything I do is about what I'm about to show you. So one thing, in private practice for the last decade, one thing that drives me crazy is people that come and they say, oh, it sucks to get old, or I don't want to get older because getting older sucks. And just hearing that drives me crazy because this is the vision. This is how we visualize getting older. And I'm going to show you what aging can really be like. So when we're born, right, this is function, this is age. When we're born, we have no function, yes? I got a little baby right now, right? He can't do anything. Very little function as an infant, right? But then as we start getting older, hopefully he'll stop pooping his pants, right? And start tying his shoes. And our function starts to increase, yes? And then by the time we're teenagers, we should be, fully functioning adults. What I'm seeing already, and even in preteens, is we're not eating good, we're not exercising, we start to gain weight, and pretty soon already our function's going down. And I see people, I just watched the other day, they're struggling to get in and out of their car. Like just going up and down stairs is hard for people, right? And at a low age, our function starts to decrease, and we start feeling worse, and our function goes down. And this is why we think to ourselves, oh, aging sucks, right? And then we go on a path, we don't eat good, we don't exercise. And here's what's really scary, guys. On average in the US, 64 is our functional life expectancy. So on average, Americans at 64 are back to infancy. We can't take care of ourselves anymore, right? And then we visualize nursing home life, yes, till 77, and that's life expectancy, all right? That's what people visualize as older. Here's what I visualize, and here's what my whole purpose is. We all start off the same, right? But we take care of ourselves, we eat good, which I'm about to show you. We exercise, our function increases. And we should peak at about 28 to 30 years old. That should be our athletic physical peak, right? And then Father Time, man, he never loses, yes? And we slowly regress. And it should be gradual, right? And right now, in lacrosse, I got one of our members, Roger, he's pushing 70. He does box jumps on this box like no problem. 70, right? He does pull-ups with his legs perfectly straight out. He'll knock out 10, no problem, right? This is his day. This is his day pushing 70. He comes in, he works out, plays around at golf, and he spends the rest of his day playing with his grandkids. Every day. Does the aging sound like it sucks if you have it like that? No, it's awesome, right? But what did he do? He exercised his whole life, he ate well, he took care of himself, and he lives like this. And then humans, we're meant to live to about 115. So we regress. We have sexy time with our 115-year-old wife. And then we don't wake up, right? That's my vision. And here's what I want. I mean, seriously, I want to be having sexy time at a hundo. That's more my goal. But, and here's my goal for people. So no matter where you are on this path, you can move this way. I'm going to show you how to start eating better, how to start exercising better, so you feel stronger, you feel better, and pretty soon your function starts increasing, and you get up closer to this, and you start living more of this life, right? And then same thing, you have sexy time, you die. Cool? Does that make sense? Now here's what's really great is, watch this. If you're living more like this, yes, I call it the ripple effect, and you're eating good and you're exercising, the people around you see that. Do your kids imitate you? Do they do what you do or do what you say? Do what you do, yes? My kid, he's 20 months old. He does, if I say squat, he squats, right? He does an ab wheel. It's just so cool. Just the other day, he got a Q-tip on, and he's trying to do his, I'm like, how the hell did you? But anyhow, they see and they observe this. So if you make good choices, your choices ripple around to those around you, and it just brings people around you up towards this. And then your kids have a better life, yes or yes? Right? I mean, honest God, if I was home, right, if I got home, plopped on the couch, watched The Bachelorette or some stupid crap, right, and ate Doritos like some people do to get on this path, and my kid is sitting there watching me, would he be more likely to go this way or this way, right? So that's what this is all about, man. I'm going to show you how to eat good, exercise, so you get up to here, and hopefully, I mean, literally, I plan on doing this kind of stuff. Because Roger, man, if he's doing it at 70, pushing 70, no reason we can't, yes? Wouldn't that be a good life? That's what this is all about. The whole presentation is about having that. So in this presentation, I'm going to take about 20 years of obsessive learning, pack it into hopefully under an hour, right? Because it's nice out, you got stuff to do, and I'm hungry. All right, next slide. And the clicker doesn't work, so I'm going to say next slide a lot. And here's what's really cool, guys. So this is what's so important. We always talk about, if someone has cancer, yes, awful, happens way too much, and they're going through chemo and radiation and just terrible things, what are they trying to get? More time, yes? Trying to get, is there anything more valuable than time? Nothing, right? What does eating well and exercise give you? More time, lots more time, but it's better. It gives you higher quality time, yes or yes? right? That's what eating exercise, it gets you the most valuable thing, more time and more valuable time. You look at these really famous people, he who gains time gains everything. Steve Jobs, who died way too young with billions of dollars. Would he have given up every penny to live longer? Instantly? Yes. He said, my favorite things in life don't cost any money. It's really clear that the most precious resource we all have is time. Fortunately, that's my goal, man. It's just enjoy my time. I'm very time, happiness driven, very money. Don't worry about money, man. Just time and happiness. That's what this is about. More time, higher function. If you have higher function, do you have a better life? Yes or yes? Yes, absolutely. Oh, next slide. Easy answer, right? Yes or yes? So here's the thing, man. Nutrition, it's really simple. It really is. It's just the market makes it complicated because if you're confused, they're easier to sell to you, yes? Right? If it's easy, you're like, well, this is stupid. I'm not buying this. That's what it is for me. So many things I look at, I'm like, how could anybody possibly buy this? And they'll sell millions of dollars worth of it. So one of my goals is to make this really simple for you. So when you see gimmicks, right away you're like, gimmick, there's no way I'm going to pull out my wallet. Fair? You're going to save money here, I promise. Next slide. So who the heck am I anyhow? Why should you believe me, right? Like, how do you know what you're talking about? So I started off, UWL, did pre-med, business, graduated that, went to Chiro school, got my Chiro degree. CSCS, certified nutrition, blah, blah, all kinds of certifications, right? Who cares, really? But I really, this is what I enjoy. So like when people read stuff for pleasure, I read nutrition for pleasure. Like I do exercise for pleasure. When I was a little kid, as a little kid, I would fill milk jugs with water to do curls. So I don't know where it came from. I would do it's just weird. It's just been me my whole life. This is what I really like to do. And I think this is very important. I practice what I preach. Yes? Would you guys ever go to a broke financial advisor for finance advice? No? This is just my opinion. This is going to be fair. This is my opinion. I don't think it's wise to get health advice from someone who's not healthy. That's just how I feel. I stay very fit. I take care of myself. I'm not perfect by any means. I won't claim to be. Weddings, I'll do bad things, right? But for the most part, everything I teach, I do. Does that make sense? I just think it's very, very important to lead by example. And one thing we're really freaking good at is results. And I'm going to show you some. Next slide. Well, here's me. I don't want to brag or be like, ooh, look at me. But every year, I look the same. You know, and I'm 39 years old. I have the same build I had when I was 22, literally. And it's not that hard to just eat good and work out moderately to maintain it. Because the big thing about weight loss is maintaining it, yes? I want you to lose weight and then stay that way until you're 115. Something like that. All right, next slide. Roger, does this work? Please, I don't know if this site. Probably not.
Video?
Yeah. Well, anyhow, I have sweet videos of that guy doing really cool, impressive stuff. Just so you know, I'm not lying, but you can probably think I'm lying now. Here's Will. Look how much younger he looks on the right. Isn't that amazing? That was only a few months. Just a few months of. People say, like, what's the fountain of youth? Youthful look comes from diet and exercise. Right? He looks a decade younger. Next slide, lost a bunch of weight. This is really cool. He just happened to get his blood work done. Cholesterol went down 50 points, triglycerides, fat in his blood down 100. He's like, hey man, thanks for giving my life back. Just from diet and exercise. Next slide. Speaking of blood work, last week I had to get my blood work done for life insurance. I qualified for the lowest rate there possibly is because I take care of myself. You know? I really truly believe if you take care of yourself, it saves you money long term, for sure. Joe, 50-some years old, look at his triglycerides went down from 301 to 87. That's massive, massive stuff just by changing his diet and exercising. Cholesterol went way down. I'll show you exactly how to do it. Next slide. Rick, same thing. Next slide. Pretty impressive change, right? A couple reasons I show this. On the right, that's after 5 kids. And see how she's using a 70-pound kettlebell and she's not giant and muscly, right? Ladies, use big weights. You know what big and weights does? It just makes you look good in tone, right? It doesn't make you big and muscly. Anyone doing droids? Then you're fine. Unless you're taking testosterone, you're not going to get big and beefy. So you push the weights, man. Lift hard. Looks good on the right, yes? Didn't lose a pound. Sometimes the scale can lie, because sometimes you lose fat and gain muscle, and muscle's heavy and dense. So sometimes when you get on especially at first, you get on a scale and you're working out hard and you're eating good, and 4 weeks in you haven't lost a pound and you get discouraged. You're losing fat, getting denser muscle, so the scale might not change for a while. Cool? So be careful of that. Next slide. Big changes, down 60 pounds. The ripple effect, just because her husband has to eat what she cooks because she cooks. He's lost a bunch of weight, and it took her about 1.5 years to get him to join. Now he's really into working out, and he's looking great. Next slide. Lindsay, have you guys met Lindsay? Some of you probably have. You've met Lindsay. So the way this worked, Lindsay came to my car office because she got rear-ended, and I came in for neck pain, and we started talking, and like everyone I talk to pretty much in my office, you get talking about diet and exercise because that's really how you get to health. And she was jogging all the time, eating what was government healthy, miserable, on medications, antidepressants, anti-anxiety. And I just like, hey, I can help you. She just went all in, 6 months, pretty impressive. 4 years later, really impressive. She's like, I'll do anything to work with you. And she's been working with me for like 4 years. Very, very cool. Next slide. Nice, next slide. Again, mom of 2, big change. Next slide. It's all diet and exercise. Keith. So life's about, I mean, think back, you guys. Think back to your fondest memories. All of you, think back to your fondest memories. Were any of them a tangible thing? Or were they all experiences? Every single one an experience? Does being fit and higher function give you more experiences? Does that mean more happy? So when Keith started, that's him on the top left, he physically could not just do this, right? Because he hurt his shoulder, had surgery, he just couldn't even do that. I mean, he couldn't even come close to doing a push-up on the highest box. Just stuck with it, worked through it. Now he can do pull-ups, dozen pull-ups, push-ups like nothing, and he goes rock climbing with his kids out west. Is that a huge increase in life, quality of life, happiness, function? Because of what? So he decided to work out and eat good, right? He just went all in and did it. Next slide. Well, I think it was 8 weeks. By the way, it's easier for guys. Girls, sorry, it just is. It just is, man. It just is. This is Mark. I was doing a presentation in Madison. Mark was sitting next to me, and at early 30s, Mark had a heart attack, right? And that was his wake-up call, like, holy crap, I need to change my lifestyle, doing a lot better. The reason I show this is too often we wait for a tragedy. Don't do that, man. Right now. Everyone's like, oh, this, that. Right now, like today, go home, throw away your crap after I show you what's crap, and go buy some good food. Fair? I mean, why wait? Like, think of it now. Donna, pretty cool? Donna was working out with us for about over a year. Speaking of, where's the t-shirt? But anyhow, she was around for over a year, getting stronger, getting fitter, but she wasn't losing much weight. And then finally, she just went all in on the diet plan. Boom, within a year, she dropped 100 pounds. Cool? Think about this, too. So here's healthy weight loss. 1 to 2 pounds a week, right? Let's say you only lose 1 to 2 pounds a week, right? Think 1 year, how much is that? 50 to 100 pounds. How fast does a year go by? How fast? I mean, ridiculous, right? Just think, short and steady, slow, only 1 pound a week, consistently. 1 year, you're 52 pounds down. That's a lot of weight, man. Next slide. Good results. That was Will's wife. Next slide. Look at that. After 3 kids, Megan's like, after 3 kids, you know what? Time to start doing for me. And she started eating. Here's what's really great. Ripple effect. Huge. She owns a daycare, and her daycare is massively healthier because she learned how to eat. And now she feels guilty giving the kids the foods that the government says they're supposed to give the foods, right? Much, much healthier daycare. Next slide. Next slide, obviously a completely different person. So here's the most important thing of the whole thing. This has nothing to do with nutrition, but it's the most important part of it. So I'm willing to bet a lot of us have started a nutrition program and quit, yes? Or an exercise program and quit, yes? So how do you stay motivated? How does a person stick with it long term? And here's the thing, here's what you gotta do. Think about the most important thing in your life. Who's got kids? Right? Oh, this is easy. Is there anything more important than your kids? Nothing. Nothing. Here's what I want you to do. Put a picture of your kid or kids down on a table, literally at night by yourself. Put your kids' pictures down and write down, literally, don't think about it, just write it down. 100 ways, come up with 100 ways you eating healthier and exercising and getting fitter makes their lives better. Do it for them. Once you align your changes with someone else's benefit, you just never stop, right? When I was growing up, I'm just a competitive bastard, so that was my motivation. And then once I had a kid, it's so motivating. Like I see the future where I want his kids to say, man, Grandpa's a stud, right? Literally, I mean, I'm thinking that far ahead. So just, it's so powerful. Whatever's the most important thing to you, write it down, put a picture of it, and come up with all the ways that you being healthier makes their life better. Huge. Matt, if you look at all the most successful people in the world, and they do like crazy, incredible things, it's because they have this big why. Like, it's just so important to them. You gotta make it important. And other people are more important than you. You always do more for someone else. Is that fair? Most importantly, you gotta do that. Another thing that's motivating, which it's not quite as positive and yay, but a lot of times when you make lifestyle changes and you're doing better for yourself, people doubt you, yes? Get that on people like, oh, they prove the bastard's wrong. That's a great motivator. I love doubters, man. I need more of them. Because it helps motivate me to prove people wrong, right? There's just so much motivation out there. The positives, find your why, prove people wrong. And I'm a big, integrity it means you're a person of your word. I like to have self-integrity. So if I tell myself I'm gonna do something, I do it, right? And if I say I'm gonna do something for someone else, I do it. So just promise yourself, this is my why, this is why I'm gonna do it, and I'm gonna stick to it. So one thing is knowledge. You ever heard the phrase knowledge is power? That's not true. Knowledge isn't power unless you put it into action, right? Knowledge plus action, now that's power. And once you have your why, that's how you keep with the action. Does that make sense? Right? If you don't apply this, it's an absolute and utter waste of time. You have to apply it. And then wisdom. One thing that wise people always do is think long term. They just always think long term. Here's a crazy stat in America. This is how we're immediate gratification society. On average, 52% of our income goes to taxes. Gross, eh? 52%. What's left of that, 35% goes to interest. Because we need stuff now, we buy what we can't afford, and then we pay interest. Make sense? So when you come to eating food, the reason a lot of times we make poor choices is we think of the immediate gratification of this sort of tastes good right now. This pizza is going to give me pleasure for this instant. We don't think of the gut rot, the gained weight, the lower life, weeks, months later down the road, right? So whenever I eat meals and buy food and I go grocery shopping, I don't think of my immediate taste buds. I think of my long-term quality of life and my kids' long-term quality of life. Make sense? Long-term thinking for everything, guys. Man, I wish I learned this when I was younger, because I've made some dumb mistakes. Peter, remember that truck you bought?
I remember.
Live and learn, lessons learned. All right, next slide. All right, so let me ask you this. Raise your hand if you want to be healthy. Yes? Everybody, yes, right? Is there anything more important in your health? If I could just clap to make you healthier, would you all clap? Yeah? Right? Nobody woke up to like, oh, I'm too healthy. I need a cigarette right now because this health is insane. I'm like a 10, right? So everyone wants to be healthy. Nothing's more important than your health. We all agree? Yes, yes? What's healthier, an apple or a donut? You all know that. So why do you still eat donuts? Yeah, even she knows that. Right? We know it. We know it. But why do we still eat apples? Yes? Or what's healthier, soda or an apple? Or soda or water? Water. And we still drink soda sometimes. Juice or water? Water. Why do we drink it? Because it tastes good. Yes? Right? Short-term gratification. So let me ask you this. Let's say I took a donut. I put poison in it. You can't taste it. You can't smell it. Poison's there. Best tasting donut ever. Like, oh, mouth-watering, amazing donut. But in a week you die. Do you still eat it? No, stupid question. Here's the thing. Is those donuts, that soda, without question is poison. Without question. It's just a very slow poison that doesn't kill you in a week. It takes decades. Very slow. And one of the goals of my presentation is to get you to realize that some of the foods we're eating on a common basis, they're not bad for you. They're poisoning you. For sure, 100%. They're poisoning our kids. For sure, just absolutely zero benefit and harm every time you eat it. The other thing that's very important that we forget sometimes, I've seen this where like a little kid's got a bag of chips and they're giving it to a dog, and mom's like, oh God, no honey, that's bad. It's like, whoa. You know, how are chips bad for the dog, but okay for our kids? Or could you ever, like I'll just randomly bring it up to people, like, yeah, we were just letting the dog drink soda the other day. And they're like, how could you? I mean, that is abuse. How do we give it to kids? Yes? Marketing is so powerful that we think there's people food, right? Marketing is so good. I'm crazy into this stuff, and I almost feel guilty knowing that I'll never give my kid a Happy Meal because they market so well. One of the things we have to realize is we're mammals, yes? Yes or yes? We're animals, yes or yes? The rules, if there's the people food, isn't really food, right? When you're marketing like chips aren't really designed for humans, yes or yes? Soda, if soda's bad for a dog, you think it's very good for our kids, right? One thing I want you to realize too is like the things that we put in our mouths, it's just, I'll get to it. I got nothing. Next slide. Oh, here's who cares? Oh, there you go. So here, this area. When health is absent, wisdom cannot reveal itself. Strength cannot have. Pretty much, if you don't have your health, you have nothing. It is the most important thing. And once people get sick, unfortunately, then they think, oh my God, I would do anything to go back in time just to be healthy again. Yes. Right. And I was talking to Peter on the way here. I've been kind of fortunate when I think back. Blown out my knee a couple times, 3 times. Had these surgeries. I'm just laid up in a cast and I can't move for 8 weeks. It's awful. You know what I mean? I remember being hurt laying there. I was like, I will never complain about exercise ever again. Because once you can't do it, it is awful. Enjoy it, man. Enjoy every workout there is because it's a gift. Next slide. So we got to talk about how cool you are, right? So we got to talk about genes a little bit. So this is how amazing you are. So I think about this. One night, your mom and dad got together, right? They had a good night. Whew, really good night. And they made you. And there was one cell in your mom's womb. That one cell set to 2 to 4 to 8 to 16, 32, 64, on up until eventually it made you, about 75 trillion cells. And every one of the cells in your body is genetically identical. Think about that. You have cells that are in your stomach that produce an acid so strong it'll dissolve razor blades and nails, right? If you eat nails, your stomach will dissolve it. But the same genes are in cells that make your skin, your eyes, your hair. Isn't that amazing? Think about how cool it is. Like how with the intelligence within you to make this. Like right now, there's trillions of chemical reactions happening every second. I mean, think of the point. Like your body is so flippin' amazing beyond comprehension You know, you're digesting food, you're bringing in oxygen, you're fueling all your muscles, blood's pumping like crazy. You're making millions and millions of cells every single minute. Isn't that cool? Does anybody think that's as cool as me, or am I just really weird? Think about this. If they took the blood vessels out of your body, they'd go around the world twice. You know that? If you took all the genes out of your cells and lined them up, the DNA, it'd go around Pluto and back twice. That's like how cool your body is. And here's the thing. Genetically, we're all 99.9% identical. Think about that. We are so much more alike than we are different. So here's the thing. Think about any other species on the planet. Let's go white-tailed deer. Have you ever seen a herd of white-tailed deer where the bucks need to eat one thing, and the does need to eat something else, and the fawns need to eat something else? Or do they all require the same nutrients? Do we all require the same nutrients? We all just people? We're all 99% identical? That's why I hate when they talk about, you know, this group and that. We're all freaking people, man. We all require the same. This is marketing. The foods I eat are the exact same foods my wife eats and the exact same foods my 20-month-old baby eats, just in different portions. Identical, right? So it makes it really easy. Because like marketing makes it, you need this for you, this for you, this for you, because it's easier to sell when it's individualized. What I'm about to show you works for everybody. Someone might have like food allergies or little things to work around, but the general principles apply to all of us. Fair? Fair, fair? Oh, stay there. All right. Here's the. So it's mainly women. Like also, somebody give me an analogy to understand how genes and food work. So let's say you wanted to build, you had a blueprint for the perfect home you could ever build. Fair? Imagine, wouldn't that be cool, ladies? You got the perfect home, so everything you want, swimming pool, perfect. And you have the best construction crew that never once has ever made a mistake, right? Perfect blueprint, perfect construction crew, and you start giving them crappy materials. Broken wood, rusty nails, rotten boards, broken glass. Could they make you a house? Yeah, they can make you a house. Would it be a phenomenal, perfect house? Is it the blueprint's fault? No. Builder's fault? No. Here's the thing, your gene code is just a blueprint. Your genes are just blueprints on how to make each individual cell, right? And that's called your innate intelligence. The intelligence within you that's keeping you alive, that created a human in your womb, that's the construction crew, fair? And the materials we give it, that's food. If you don't give it the right food, it can't possibly produce a healthy you or a healthy home. That's how important food is. You can live this study is called epigenetics. You can change your genetic expression based on what you eat, right? So right now I have calluses on my hands, yes? Is that a genetic defect? Why did I grow thick skin on my hands? Lift weights and work out, right? That's my genetic response to the environment. You know what red blood cells do? They carry oxygen throughout your body, fair? If I go way up in a mountain, my body produces more red blood cells, yes or yes? Yep. Is that a genetic problem? Or is that a genetic response to my environment? Is that healthy? Yes? If I eat a bunch of sugars and drink soda and don't exercise and eat a whole bunch of grains and processed foods, and it causes damage to my cells or produces inflammation, and because of that my cholesterol goes up, my triglycerides go up, my blood sugar goes up, my blood pressure goes up, is that a gene problem? Is there a lifestyle problem? Lifestyle. Exactly. What you eat can change your genetic expression. They have really cool studies in the Scandinavian countries where they have identical twins, exact same gene code that are split up at a young age, massive different health outcomes, same genes. That's how powerful diet is. It is the most important factor in health, and it's something you can control. Can you control your diet? Sometimes I hear like eating healthy is hard. You guys, our idea of hard is so skewed. Like hard is living in a third world country. You know what I mean? Choosing what you buy and put in your mouth, it's not really that hard. You just got to do it. And I got to make it really important for you guys to do it. All right? So you're going to build a perfect home, food and exercise. Next slide. There's so much more I can talk about. And that's a new study of epigenetics reveals how the choices you make can change your genes and those of your kids. Like literally, the stuff moms you eat before and during pregnancy can affect the genetic expression of your kids forever. It's so important. Next slide. We're going to skip that. Here's what we're going to talk about. I'm going to show you just some stats on current health in America. Oh my gosh, 20 years, tripled, right? 1 in 3 kids gets fast food every day. That's really, really bad. Really bad. Sorry I got my back to you, but it's really hard. I got eyes back here. More than 2/3 of the adult population is either overweight or obese. That's a 600% increase in 15 years. Could that possibly be our genes are changing? What's changed? Diet, right? That's it, diet. Oh yeah, there you go. Donna, you see that photo? Remember we were talking about Donna? Yeah, the shirt girl, shirt lady. Next slide. You're hiding, sneaky. Next slide. Skip the joke. All right, so here's the deal, right? So we're eating terrible, we're not exercising, we develop high blood, all these symptoms, we feel bad, and then we go to the doctor, and what do? They give you pills, right? Give us pills. Here's right now. The U.S. makes up less than 5% of the world's population. We consume over half the meds on the planet, right? Keep clicking, click, 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 click. Go to the next slide. Oh, look at that. This is just a crazy stat. On average, this always blows my mind. 91 people die every day in the US from prescription painkillers. It's amazing. Next slide. Keep going. Next click. Sorry, I wish I had my clicker. 50% of Americans that have chronic illness. Hold on, slow down. Oh, God. You're killing my thunder, man.
I'm sorry.
But anyhow, on average, every adult in America gets 11 prescriptions per year. That's crazy. For seniors, it's 31. That's the average. Right now, it's your next slide. This is the worst one. Is kids, it's 4, right? And and then just so you know, I'm like some people are like super anti-drug I'm not that at all. Hospitals are great, right? But if anyone thinks that our health issues are because we need more pills cheaper, they're freaking nuts. Fair? Like right now, all the healthcare debate is nothing's about, hey, how do we actually get people healthier? How do we get people eating better? How do we get better foods in schools? How do we get people moving more? It's all about money, money, money. Who pays for it, right? It's just they're asking the wrong questions. Next slide. This is how much it costs us. This is crazy. Just click, click, click. Heart disease is 501 million. Cancer, 430 million. Stomach disorder. These are hundreds of millions of dollars we're spending on this. It's actually way more than this now because it's a couple years old. Keep going, keep going, keep going. Every day. Hundreds of millions of dollars per day on lifestyle conditions. Keep going. We'll get to the food. Yeah, keep going through this one. Sorry, I don't have computer specs. Keep going. Yeah, so here's the crazy thing, right? The U.S. spends way more than any country in the world on healthcare. Yeah, we're 51st in life expectancy. Think about that. 50 countries live longer than we do. Keep going. That's that slide right there. Got ahead of it. Could you name 50 countries? That'd be tough, man. Good challenge. I don't think I could. I might try. All right, next slide. Life expectancy. What's the life expectancy in the U.S.? Remember 77, but what's functional life expectancy? Right, I mean, and this is my opinion, man. If I'm laying in a bed and I need someone to feed me and take care of me and take me to the bathroom, that's not living to me, right? I want to be living. There's people, literally, guys, there's people in their 80s that go skiing every day. Gary Player, he just turned 81, I think, says the best year of his life. That's the potential. He takes care of himself. Next slide. I think that we just talked about, where is it, 64? Yeah, next slide. Last year was the first year in, I was like 15 years, life expectancy went down in the U.S., went down by a tenth a year. It's going down. Yeah, it's really, really bad. So here, in the last 20 years, we've seen pandemic increases in chronic illness of both middle-aged adults and children. Sometimes people say, well, we're seeing all this disease because people are living longer. Well, we're not, for one. And two, the fastest increase in health issues is in young people, not the elderly, which is really scary. Every year for the past 50 years, spent more money, more drugs, more surgeries. We just keep getting sicker. Next slide. So I'll show you what to do. So, from the Journal of Applied Physiology, overwhelming evidence from a variety of sources lists most chronic disease in the world to physical inactivity and inappropriate diet. And they're talking about heart disease, type 2 diabetes, metabolic syndromes, cancers. Type 2 diabetes used to be called adult onset diabetes, but so many kids get it, they had to change the name. Seriously, it's crazy. Next slide. So here's where they started off. We had the food pyramid. Remember when you were a kid? When I was a kid, there was a food pyramid. And then they changed it to the food plates. It's like, well, where does this government information come from to get the food plates? And the University of Alabama in Birmingham, they said, the authors conclude that the USDA's work and the research used to support that work is so off base it's scientifically useless. Well, that's good, right? Next slide, I'll show you what happened. So in the late 70s, early 80s, there was this guy named Ancel Keys, right? And he had this theory that eating saturated fats caused heart disease. So he did this study called the 22 Country Study. And this conclusion of his study that saturated fats are bad, and the government said, all right, we need to cut fats out of the diet, right? How many of you bought something that said low fat? Freaking everybody, I guarantee it, right? I remember as a kid not just eating piles of jelly and putting sugar on my cereal because it was low fat, right? Literally, according to the government guidelines right now, an avocado is unhealthy because it's too much fat, but a low-fat Pop-Tart's healthy. Literally, right? Salmon's unhealthy, too much fat, but Frosted Flakes are okay because it's honest to God, right? But anyhow, so this guy Ancel Keys came up with a study, and the government ran with it. It's like, oh my God, fats cause heart disease, we need to cut out fats, but his study was complete bogus. So there's 22 countries, and most of them didn't support his data, so he just threw them out. He just cherry-picked 8 countries that supported his data, plus his calculations were wrong, so a complete bogus study. And since then, this is what obesity has done since the low-fat guidelines came out. They're just skyrocketing. Why? If you take fat out of stuff, it tastes like cardboard, yes? So how do you make it taste better? You add sugar, right? Sugar, sugar, sugar. Next slide. That's the increase in diabetes in that time frame, right? Pretty interesting correlation. Next slide. So for many, many years, we've known that Americans are gaining weight, and there's all these diet plans, diet plans, diet plans. The problem with just about every diet plan is instead of asking, what should a human eat to be healthy? Wouldn't that be the right question? Like instead of worrying about losing weight, just eat to be healthy, train hard, and weight just falls off. Yes? What they ask is, what should we eat to lose weight? So the 1925s, and this will work, right, is instead of grabbing a sweet, grab a cigarette. Right? It will work. It's just not very healthy. Then you remember Slim Fast? Shake for breakfast, shake for lunch, then a sensible meal. Here's what you should do. A sensible meal for breakfast, right? Yeah. Don't ever replace a meal with a shake. Just replace a meal with a healthier meal. Fair? Fair? Right, next slide, next slide. I won't go over all these, but we'll go, remember Americans go low-fat eating foods like the McDonald's McLean Deluxe Burger, right? Crazy. Next slide. I don't know if I've seen it around here still, is they inject people with human chorionic gonadotropin, which is really foolish, but then you can only eat 500 to 800 calories a day, so they starve you, right? Well, of course you're gonna lose weight. You're starving, right? And then what happens when you start eating normal again? You just pack it back on and then some. It's a bad idea. The KE diet, which, actually, you know what, this is honestly, God, I can't make this up, you're gonna think I'm bullshitting you, but the FDA approved where people can get a surgery where they put a valve on their stomach, and you can overeat and then open up the valve and pump the food into the toilet. Surgical bulimia. I swear to God, I was looking, I'm like, this has to be the onion, this has to be the onion. But it's actually true, right? Or the Kate, okay, all right, this one's gonna get you. So we're mammals, yes? Yeah. Agreed, okay, let's say, you know how there's all over Facebook and you got everyone trying to sell this cleanse or this detox or this 2-week blah, 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 blah. Or let's say you had a dog that got, an overweight dog, is that possible? Low on energy, lethargic, take it to the vet, it's like, you know, doc, my dog's overweight, he's really low on energy, how do I get him to lose weight? And he's like, what you need to do is get him some body wraps. What you gotta do is you gotta wrap your dog in saran wrap and then let him run around and just melt his belly fat. Isn't that absurd? And we buy it for ourselves. Or what if he said this, because I've seen these energy vitamin patches. If the vet's like, you know what this dog really needs, you need to shave his butt cheek and put patches on it. Because that will really give him what he needs. Come on, guys, don't fall for this. It's whenever you get, think if they did, or just think that, this dog he just needs pink water in his dog bowl, and he's just gonna start shrinking, right? What would they recommend for the dog? Change his diet and get him moving? What should we do? Diet move, I'll show you exactly how to do it, you just gotta apply it, it's coming. It might be the next slide, I don't know. We'll skip that one. All right, let's talk about food. So I'm going to start off with foods you shouldn't be eating. Let's talk about carbs, yeah? It's carbs. What the hell's a carb, right? I'll make it really easy for you. So you got two sugars. You got glucose, you got fructose. Those are simple sugars, right? You combine them, you get sucrose. You know what that is? Table sugar. Fair? Combine that to another sugar. You know what you got yourself? You got carbs. That's all carbs are, right? And you combine it to another sugar, and it starts to look kind of complex. You know what that is? Complex carbs. Pretty simple, right? So how does it get confusing? So when you eat a carb, your body has to break it down. That's digestion. Digestion means breaking down the complex carb into individual sugars to get absorbed into your bloodstream, fair? So the more of this you eat, and the quicker it gets broken down and absorbed into your bloodstream, the worse it is for you. Does that make sense, right? If you eat a whole bunch of sugar and your body can digest it really quickly and your body gets bombarded with blood sugar and your blood sugar spikes and then 2 hours later you're starving and you eat more, right? Does that make sense? All right, so how do we know which carbs to eat and which carbs? I eat carbs every day. What drives me crazy is there's good carbs and there's bad carbs. I'm gonna make it really, really easy for you, all right? The carbs that get broken down the fastest and hit your body with the sugar the quickest is, of course, added sugars and grains. Fair? How do you make a cow gain weight? Feed it corn and take away exercise, because what's corn? Just sugar, right? Corn's not a vegetable, it's a grain. Fair? A lot of people think that was corn, all right? So I'm going to talk about grains for a little bit. So all grains is a whole bunch of sugars bound together, right? And you heard the buzzword gluten? So what gluten is, it's a protein, it's a sticky protein that holds all the sugars together. That's why bread is like squishy and spongy. That's gluten. Have you ever seen like a rash on your arm or poison ivy? Right? If you get poison ivy, you get a rash, right? So what gluten can do, because gluten is really bad for humans, is gluten can cause that inside your digestive system. It can cause damage, and that's why so you damage your digestive system, and big particles, instead of the little ones, can get into your bloodstream, and then your immune system attacks it, thinking, what the heck is this? And that's where we get autoimmune diseases. So a lot of autoimmune diseases come from poor diet, like acne, eczema, colitis, MS, rheumatoid. I had a woman in La Crosse, she's like, Steve, you're not gonna believe this, but I haven't needed my rheumatoid arthritis shots in a year since I started. I'm like, actually, I do believe it, because I see stuff like this all the time. And they're just, never mind. But anyhow, I asked her, she was, how often are we getting a shot? She said it was 4 per year. Guess how much one shot was? $10,000, right? I didn't get any of it. Right? I'm like, I just saved you 40 grand. You're like, but yeah, so here's what happens. So you got all this. So let's say you eat a bowl of pasta. Or let's say you eat a couple pieces of whole wheat bread that literally hits your blood with sugar faster than eating a candy bar, right? And let's say you have this whole wheat bread with gluten, right? And they take the gluten out. What are you left with? A whole bunch of sugar and bad stuff, right? So gluten-free, it's not that good. Make sense? There's other things in grains. There's things called phytates. And what phytates are anti-nutrients that bind to calcium, magnesium, phosphorus, and iron and pull it from your body. That's why a lot of times people are iron deficient and anemic and low in calcium. It's not that they're not eating enough of it. They're eating a whole bunch of high phytate foods pulling it from your body. Does that make sense? There's also anti-nutrients in grains called lectins. And what lectins do, they do a lot of bad things, but one thing they do is they block leptin. So leptin is a hormone that tells you you're full. And if you block that, you overeat. Does that make sense? Right? So when you eat grains, you get a whole bunch of sugars, you get gluten and gliadin, you get this thing called wheat germ agglutinin, which is a lect, and then you get phytates and blah, 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 and it can get really confusing. But one of the best things you can do, and here's my carbs, guys. I eat fruits all the time, I eat vegetables all the time, I eat sweet potatoes and squash. All 4 of those things are carbs. Fair? Every vegetable's a carb. Every fruit's a carb. Whenever we hear carbs, what do we think? Pasta. Why? Marketing. Every fruit, every vegetable, anything that doesn't have parents is a carb. Right? Okay? So here's what carbs you're going to eat. Ready? Vegetables as much as you freaking want. Have you ever heard anyone's like, oh man, I've been eating broccoli constantly and I just can't lose weight? Seriously. One of my goals at home is to have vegetables with every meal. Let's say you only like one veggie, right? Just one. Eat it every meal. Fair? And then eventually start adding more veggies in your diet. And you can't eat too many vegetables. Vegetables, my desserts are always fruits. Always. You know how good bananas are? Or a good crisp apple or watermelon? I just love fruits. Grapes. But vegetables, fruits. I like sweet potatoes over white potatoes because they're higher in nutrients. They're not even related, 2 different families, but they're higher nutrients. And then sweet potato or regular potatoes, they're sprayed heavily, right? People like to always ask organic versus inorganic. Let's say you have 2 apples, right? Exact same nutrient content. One has poison on it, one doesn't. Which one would you rather eat? Let's say one has poison on it, one has some drift from the non-organic field and has a little bit of poison on it. Which one would you rather eat? Right, so here's what I do. There's certain fruits that are sprayed heavily, the dirty dozen they call them. I buy those organic, and the ones that aren't sprayed very much, I buy inorganic. Just Google it, fair? Just Google dirty dozen. You have, like apples are sprayed heavily, grapes are sprayed heavily. I always get those ones organic. And then like asparagus and things like that, I buy inorganic. Does that all make sense? Carbs. So when it comes to carbs, this is how I approach it. This is how you guys should approach it. I'm going to eat carbs whenever I want, but they're going to be good carbs. Fruits, vegetables, sweet potatoes, squashes. Fair? Fair, right? It's like, oh my gosh, how do I get rid of grains? It's not that hard. Here's the other thing too with grains. There isn't a single nutrient, nothing, that is in grains that you don't get more of from fruits and vegetables. Nothing. Absolutely nothing, right? And if you come to my home, you don't find them. There's just none in our house, and I've been like that for about a decade. If I could go back in time, don't you wish you could go back in time and teach your younger self stuff? You know the stupid stuff you did, right? If I could go back in time and teach myself one thing, without question, it would be how to eat better. So I suffered from digestive issues and all this stuff up until my 20s when I finally learned how to eat good. I feel so good at 39 compared to freaking 19. It's just, I wish I could go back in time to that. So that makes sense? So, okay, we'll go to fats. Fats, same thing. People say low fat, no fat, how much fat, blah, blah, blah. All I worry about is eating good fats, right? 2 oils in your home, right? Coconut oil, olive oil. Done. Fair? There's other ones that are good. Who cares? Coconut, olive oil. Make it simple, right? Easy. Peanut oil is very pro-inflammatory. Bad news. The canola and the stuff the government told us to eat, canola, it's just bad news. Just coconut oil, olive oil. Fair? Stick with those oils. And then let's say sometimes you'll read studies that eating red meat is unhealthy. Here's the problem with those studies is the people eating red meat, they also smoke, don't exercise, drink more, eat more grains, blah, 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 but somehow meat gets the bad rap, right? So let's say you have 2 cows, right? Exact same species, same family, everything. One cow lives on grass, and one cow's locked in a cage, force-fed corn full of antibiotics. Do they have the same kind of meats in them? They have the same kind of fats. Here's what changed. Their fats are very different. when it comes to fats from animals, animal fat is healthy if it's a wild raised animal, fair? So if the animal's fed grass or lived in the wild and getting nuts and things it's supposed to eat in its natural environment, it makes healthy fats within its body. If an animal is locked in a cage, force-fed grains and corn to fatten them up before slaughter, and then they fill the grains with antibiotics because they get sick, because grains aren't meant for cattle, actually, right? Is that the same? You know what I mean? That's not good for you. Does that make sense? You can't generalize meat. There's a huge difference between the tenderloin from a deer eye shoots and the hamburger at McDonald's. Yes or yes? Huge difference, all right? So when it comes to meats, wild raised, grass-fed as much as humanly possible. Fair? Is that more expensive? Yes. So what do? Go to, like on our page, I got a list of, I don't know how many, there's probably 8 local grass-fed, free-range grass-fed farmers on there. Go there, buy a half a beef, load up your chest freezer, you got meat for a year. Buy in bulk, avoid the grocery store markup, and that really keeps the price down. And think long-term, a little bit up front for a lot of health later. Fair? Cool? What are we eating for carbs? Nice. Oh, it's so easy. What kind of meats? Wild, right? Wild raised as much as you can. What kind of fats are you cooking with? Right. High heat for coconut oil. Be careful with olive oil. If you get it too hot, you kind of ruin it, right? So low to medium heat with olive oil. Fair? If it starts smoking, that's bad news. Okay? Seriously? All right, we got that? Oh, it's so easy. All right, what's next? Nuts. Nuts are good for you, yes? One rule, peanuts not a nut. Okay, that's a legume. That doesn't count. That's not good for you. And it's aflatoxin, which is a cancer-causing mold that often grows on them underground. Bad oils in it. But you want to go with nuts, and here's where we get in trouble, is even if you eat really healthy, you can eat too much good stuff. Fair? The one I find that ladies get carried away with is nuts, right? 1 cup of almonds is about 900 calories. That's a lot of calories, right? Right, and think about like when we're living in the wild, you know how hard it is to get a nut? You gotta sit there and smash it with a rock to get one little nut out. But now you get a can of them covered in salt and wasabi and you right? Be really careful with that because you can overeat nuts really easy. You can get carried away with oils really easy. You can't overdo vegetables, but you can overdo nuts and oils. So you gotta limit yourself. So one of my favorite snacks is a banana with pecans. I do a pecan, big bite, pecan, big bite, pecan, big bite, snack. Cool? Here's one thing that's really interesting too, just while we're on the nut subject, is let's say you have 500 calories of almonds and you have 500 calories of almond butter. When you eat, like, you're going to absorb more calories of the almond butter than the almonds. Like, why? Because it's already pre-digested because it's ground up. That makes sense? So, like, processed foods are already so close to being fully digested, your body absorbs all the calories from it. When you eat whole foods, it's harder to digest the whole foods, so a lot of it passes through you, so you don't get the same amount of calories. Does that make sense? That's why calories on a package can be very deceiving. What's written on a package isn't even close to what your body absorbs. It doesn't take into account the different hormonal effects of the calories. So that's why I don't worry about calories at all. I just choose healthy foods, and if I'm getting a little soft, I just watch my portions. Fair? Does that all make sense? Here's another thing. It's called the thermic effect of food. So if I eat 100 calories of protein, like meat, it's hard to digest protein. So 30% of those calories are burned up just through the digestion process because digestion burns calories. Does that make sense? So if I eat 100 calories of protein, I'm only getting about 70 of those calories. But if I eat 100 calories of a piece of bread, getting all 100 really quickly. Does that make sense? Whole foods. All right, ready? What do we get? Oh, and then now stay there. And then we got, remember when the government for about 50 years said don't eat eggs, right? And then they're like, oops, we were wrong. It's one of the healthiest foods on the planet. I eat eggs every morning, right? Here's one of the fascinating things with breakfast is, oh, by the way, is breakfast the most important meal of the day? You know where that advice came from? Breakfast companies paying doctors to make those studies, right? I never eat breakfast. When I wake up, I'm not hungry. I don't eat until I'm up for about 4 hours, and you never force yourself to eat if you're not hungry, right? Just eat when you're hungry, eat till you're full, not crazy full, and choose healthy foods. Is that really easy or what, right? Don't force yourself to eat breakfast because you think you need it. But anyhow, what the heck was I just talking about? Nuts and butters and oils and eggs are very, very good for you. Remember when the government said, hey, eat margarine, not butter, because margarine's so much better for you? And now they're like, oh my gosh, margarine has killed tens of thousands of Americans, and now we're going to ban it? You know that? And here's what's really gross, is in 2015, the government banned trans fats because they're so bad for us in 2018. So they gave everyone 3 years to sell it all. It's still on shelves, even though it's banned, right? This is not 2018 yet. It's on our kids' foods, for Christ's sakes. Like those, remember I said a donut is poison? So here's what you got. You got refined grains, right, sugars. You have it deep fried in trans fats, right? And then you have sugar mashed on top of it. Does that sound kind of poisoning to you? Absolutely. Think about like mac and cheese, that, you know, kids' foods. You got mac and cheese, which is refined grains. And then you got cheese, whatever the powder stuff is. And then we like to add hot dog bits or some processed nasty meat in there. Or animal crackers that kids get all the time. What's an animal cracker? Trans fats and grains, which is, what's a grain? Little ball of sugar. I mean, literally, when you give kids crackers, you're giving them little balls of sugar. And when you give them, think about this, guys. If I gave you 6 apples, could you eat them? One sitting, 6 big apples. It'd be tough, right? Because you got all that fiber to fill you up. If I squeezed the juice out of 6 apples and gave you 6 apples worth of sugar water, would you pack that back pretty easy? Juice is just sugar water. It's not a health food. When you give your kids juice or soda, visualize this, please. You got a 1/4 cup of sugar and a glass of water, and they just eat sugar and wash it down with water. Because that's what they're doing. Literally. It's just already pre-dissolved for you. Fair? Is that all making sense, I hope? What was I just had a point in my head and now I lost it. It was a good one, too. Oh, well. Moving on. So we got grains and that. Diet, I'm not a fan. Okay, so artificial fats, how'd that go for us? Not so good, right? I'd probably avoid artificial sugars, too. They're new, right? They weren't approved not that many years ago. I would bet anybody, any amount of money in our lifetime, they're going to say, oops, those were a bad idea, we're pulling them off the market. Right? I'd avoid diet. Fair? I would. Here's this. What does every mammal on the planet drink?
Water.
We're mammals, yes? What should we drink? Holy shit, that's easy, right? That's all I drink. Just water, coffee once in a while, beer every weekend. No, just kidding. That's the only two. You guys, because Wisconsin's a very drinking culture, you cut out booze. Booze really packs on the fat, man. If you cut out booze, it's huge, even your wines. But back to, here's something that's really interesting. You know what fiber is? You know what fiber is? It's a carb. Fiber is a carb. It's just a carb and a structure that your body can't absorb, can't digest, so it just passes through you, right? But what cows, they can digest it, and they digest this fiber into meat, and then we eat them. Right? That's just nature how it works. But that's what fiber is. Fiber is just a carb. When you hear fiber, carb. That's all it is. Let's see. French fries, deep fried sugars, trans fats, avoid diet. Does that all make sense? Review really quick. You guys need to go home. You're going to make a meat, something good, healthy meat, a supper. You're going to make vegetables with it. You're going to have fruit for dessert. You're going to wash it down. Here's my routine. Every supper, not every supper, but almost every supper, I make a healthy meat, right? One of my favorite things, really cheap, is you get good, free-range, antibiotic-free chicken thighs, $1.99 a pound. Cheap, yes? Just bake them. Put some curry powder on there. Just bake them for like 25 minutes each side, and you got nice big chicken thighs. And then I'll put a bunch of whatever veggies. Just throw them in a pot on the top of the stove, low to medium heat with olive oil. Stir fry a bunch of veggies, yes? I got my meat, I got a whole bunch of veggies, and I make extra. So that way in the morning when I get up, I have extra veggies sitting there. I fry a couple eggs, and for breakfast, I got eggs and veggies. Awesome? And then at nighttime with that supper, my wife puts a little extra in a to-go box, so she has that for lunch every day. And that's the routine. Day after day after day after day. And you can play around. Sometimes I've been getting more into making soups because it's easy and you can make a whole bunch and you just fill a mason jar with soup. And you got 7 mason jars and there's a week of lunches right there. Right? Easy, right? Every night. Vegetables, meat, dessert is always fruits, and I just drink water and coffee once in a while. Fair? Cool? Let's see, further on that. Here's what else is really fascinating on food choices. Let's say they've done studies where a person eats, say you eat 500 calories of eggs in the morning, which is protein, fat, and a whole bunch of good vitamins, and you eat 500 calories of, say, pancakes, subconsciously, you don't even know it, throughout the day, people who eat the pancakes eat way more food. Isn't that fascinating? Like eating those healthy nutrients and fats keeps you full longer, okay? Very, very important. Yeah, there's so much more, something else. My mind is going too far ahead. Yeah, okay, next slide. Then we'll talk about one that's a little more controversial, especially in Wisconsin. But the truth is the truth, man. You can. I got a good article on this, full of studies. So one thing that people think I'm crazy, I haven't had a glass of any dairy in well over a decade. None. And if you look, there's not a single study out there that shows drinking milk makes your bones stronger. You know that? None. It's all murky. And if you look at the countries in the world that drink the most milk, we have the highest rates of hip fractures and osteoporosis and osteopenia. And the countries where dairy isn't part of their culture, they have the lowest. Right? One of the best, here's what I encourage you, just Google Dr. Sis dairy. I got 5 pages of studies showing the detrimental effects of consuming dairy on humans because we're not baby cows, guys. Dairy's meant for baby cows. It just is. It's very hard. I grew up on a dairy farm. I'll never forget. I'm in grad school, and I remember a state wrestling tournament. I had stomach pain so bad. I was like this close to asking to be taken to the hospital. And that wasn't that uncommon for me, but I tried to be a tough guy, and I just gutted it out. I get in grad school, and same thing, a lot of gas and bloating and diarrhea all the time, which is not cool, right? And the guy's like, yeah, you just need to cut dairy out of your diet. I'm like, you're nuts, man. I live on a dairy farm. I'm from Wisconsin. There's no way. And like, fine, whatever, just look into it. And I did. I'm like, oh my gosh, there's nothing good. So I cut it out. never have gas, never have stomach pain. You know what's really crazy? That mucousy, snotty stuff that people get, a lot of that is from dairy. Like my snoring went away. You know how embarrassing snoring can be? So it's really crazy. Just one of the things I encourage you to do is just cut it out of your diet for like a month. Here's where, just so you know, this is what this sometimes happens, is once you change your diet, sometimes you feel worse for a little bit. It's like, well, how do I feel? Because you're addicted to this sugary food, and you're coming off of it, and sometimes you feel worse for a couple weeks, right? And it's like some people think, well, my body just needs these foods, right? That's like an alcoholic saying, you know what I mean? Well, my body just needs alcohol, right? It's the same thing. So you really got to, sometimes you feel a little down, but then you start feeling freaking awesome. And then once you've been eating clean for a really good long time, and then you have a cheat meal like some pizza or whatever, you know, this happened to me not that long because we're just eating fans and we're there forever, and all of a sudden they brought on this deep fried food and I'm starved. I'm like, oh, fine. I went to the parking lot and puked. I had a couple beers too, but just a couple, right? And I'm like, oh my gosh, I gotta puke, and I went and puked by tires. It's crazy. Let's see, yeah, and this kind of review paper in the New England Journal of Medicine. 55 diseases that can be caused by gluten: osteoporosis, IBS, irritable bowel syndrome, inflammatory bowel disease, anemia, fatigue, a lot of like, you know, like bogus, like fibromyalgia things. That's just your body's in pain and not feeling good because we're poisoning it, right? Irritable bowel syndrome, going on. We'll get to some more good stuff here. Oof, next slide. Just staring you down. Next slide. See, that's kind of funny. Is that natural? That's kind of weird. You ever think about like, you know, I mean, here you could maybe make an argument for like raw milk from grass-fed cows and not from Holsteins because there's casein A1 and A2 and there's a lot of things that go into it. Just drink water. I was thinking like the first guy that took a drink, like, that looks good. Like, what a weirdo. Next slide. Let's talk. All right, let me ask you this real quick. Let's say out in your yard you have a tree and it's starting to wilt and look a little. What do you do for it? Water. You think, this tree's kind of sick. It's not feeling good. What nutrient is it deficient in that I could give it to make it healthier? Does that make sense? Is it possible for us to not feel as good as we should because we're deficient in a nutrient? Yes, right? Here's what it comes with supplements. Where do vitamins come from? Normally, where should they come from? Our food, yes? Right? So ideally, we get all of our vitamins from food. The only time you should take a supplement is if you can't get a sufficient amount of a nutrient from a healthy diet. Does that make sense? Mm-hmm. Right? There's only a couple that it's really hard to get enough of from your diet. Next slide. And those three are a good, next slide, a good fish oil, right? Omega-3 fats. There's certain nutrients that are called essential, which means you need them to survive, and the only way to get them is by eating them. And if you, right? Yes? Right? A lot of vitamins your body can actually make as long as you get enough of the essential ones. Omega-3 fats, the only way you can get it is from wild game and wild fish. From plants, you only convert about 1%, so it's just wild animals, right? And how many of us eat wild game and wild fish on a regular basis? Very, very few. You do? I don't. I'm not a very good hunter. A lot of tag soup. But anyhow, so if you're low in omega-3 fats, there's so many things that, go to the next slide, I'll show you what I'm talking about. Next slide, next slide. So yeah, people with the highest intake of omega-3 fish oil weigh less and lose weight more easily than those that are deficient. 12 weeks taking fish oil boosted weight loss. Eating fatty fish is shown to lower blood pressure, lower cholesterol, neural inflammation, reduce depression, elevate your immune system, increase BDNF. You know, this is kind of cool. BDNF is brain-derived neurotrophic factor. So when I was younger, the adults would say, don't drink beer because it kills your brain cells and they don't grow back, right? That's not true. You know how it grows them back is exercise, right? And good fish oil. Exercise helps grow brain cells. But one of the things that happens is the only way for our body, like sometimes our body is hungry, not because we need calories, right? It's because we're deficient in nutrients, right? So our body's like, feed me, I need nutrition. So then we eat a pasta or bread or whatever, and we get a whole bunch of calories and no nutrients. And your body's like, I need nutrients, feed. And that's how a lot of Americans were overfed and undernourished. Does that make sense? So when you start getting good nutrients, good omega-3 fats in your diet, your hunger goes down because you're getting good nutrition. You just eat less. That's how that works. It's very, very cool. Next slide. So that's one I take every day. My baby takes it, my wife takes it. And then vitamin D. Vitamin D is a hormone. And on average, Americans are woefully low in vitamin D, especially, like right now it's actually a nice day, but all winter long. Think about winter in Wisconsin, right? Vitamin D, sunlight hits your skin produces vitamin D. Vitamin D is huge for your immune system. So what's cold and flu season? The fall, yes? Fall and winter. Why? Because as the fall and winter come, days are shorter, we get less sun, we're covered up, our vitamin D goes down, our immune system goes down, we get sick more often. Does that make sense? One of the best nutrients you can take is vitamin D. It costs about $10 a day. You know how cheap that is? I mean, come on. Here's one thing I'm very, very proud of. 11 years now, not one sick day. That's pretty good. And now, even if I am really sick, I got to go. Streak. Got to keep it going, you know what I mean? But vitamin D. So vitamin D supplements reduce the risk of premature death by 11%. There's so many good studies on it. Next slide. So those are the ones I take. And then probiotics. Probiotics are healthy bacteria that live within you. This is kind of crazy. I mean, you literally have bacteria all over your body. You have bacteria that live off fungus that's on your body. And then you have bacteria that eat the bacteria that eat the fungus. And you have bacteria, literally have like an African safari of bacteria that live all over you. Isn't that crazy? Like in your mouth, you have bacteria that protect your teeth, right? And then you have bacteria that hurt your teeth. And when you eat grains and sugars and the stuff that's bad for your teeth, it's because you're feeding the bad bacteria and hurting the good bacteria. That's why our teeth decay, right? You know what's fascinating is when they study humans before processed foods, cavities didn't exist. You know what else didn't exist? Crooked teeth. They would study Weston A. Price, Nutrition and Physical Degeneration, really cool book, late 1800s, early 1900s. He would travel the world and he looked for cultures where the Western diet hadn't reached them yet, and he would study thousands, and he couldn't find a single crooked tooth. Isn't that crazy? And then he would go back, and Grandma and Grandpa, these pictures are so cool. Grandma and Grandpa smiling, big pearly white teeth. Mom and Dad, big pearly white teeth. Little kids, because the bad food had gotten there, really crooked teeth full of cavities. Really, really interesting, but that's how powerful food is. Or there's, I just seen like they show they were testing these people, they're testing the bacteria inside their belly buttons, right? And the more bacteria people had living in their belly buttons on their body, the healthier they were. And the less strains they had, the sicker they were. So it's really, really, really fascinating stuff. But probiotics are healthy bacteria that, the whole laundry list of stuff. I won't read them all because it's getting long. But a good probiotic is something I highly recommend. So when it comes to supplements, I do 3. Vitamin D, fish oil, probiotics. My wife gets it, my kids get it, and I never miss it. Those are the 3 I recommend for everybody, right? Because we're all humans, yes? If you're a good hunter, maybe you don't need omega-3s. I'm not that good. Fair? Fair? Makes sense? Very, very good for you. My kid gets it every day. Next slide. And then when it comes to probiotics too, just so you know, there's different kinds, there's different strains. You want the strains that grow in vegetables, the stuff that Danny has here. It's really, really good. I'm going to send out an email with a really cool study that came on it just the other day. But the dairy ones, like in yogurt, that's a big scam because the probiotics, there's so few of them that it's not going to do you any good. Plus, they're probably dead. Plus, they're grown in dairy, and humans really need are the vegetable ones. Cool? Maltese whole food. Just make sure it's whole food. Next slide. We'll skip because it's getting late. Next slide. Magic berries, you guys. Please don't buy that stuff. Do you think in like, you know how we always say these magic berries that come from the jungle? Do you think in the jungle they get like, ooh, blueberry from America? Here's a bunch of, you know what I mean? Seriously, you know what the most nutrient-dense food there is that you can get for free? Is a watercress. It's all over right now. Spinach is really good. Blueberries are phenomenal. It's all here. Next slide. Or like, yeah, you know, like there's always some new magic weight loss thing coming out from Dr. Oz. Raspberry ketones. You know what I mean? Nah, next slide. Just don't spend your money on it. Next slide. We'll talk about exercise really quick. So here's one thing that an excuse that's never valid is I don't have time. I mean, here's the truth, you guys. It's just not important enough, right? Just be honest with yourself, because we have, you know, the average American watches just under 5 hours of TV a day. Holy shyster, right? Right? There's always time. You just got to make time. You know, how short was our workout today? 30 minutes. I about died. That's all you got to do. Next slide. So here's why you should exercise. It's always you hear exercise, weight loss, exercise, weight loss. Exercise does so much more. Weight loss really comes from diet, right? You can work out really, really hard, but it's really hard to outwork a bad diet. Really, really hard. But exercise strengthens your heart and all your blood vessels, right? It helps you burn fat. It reduces obesity. You handle stress better. You know, after a good workout, you're just like, whew, you know what I mean? If you come in, you're frustrated, you're pissed, and you hate your boss, and you get a good workout, then you don't have to kill him. I mean, it makes you feel, I swear, if it wasn't for sports and working out, I know I'd have been in a lot of trouble. I was a very high-strung, full of energy dude. Lifts your mood. Doesn't a workout make you feel better? Right? You have more, your immune system goes up. It makes your bones strong. One thing that's fascinating is with space travel, one of the big problems with space travel is bone loss, right? Why is that? Because there's not enough milk in space? There's no resistance, right? So the best thing for how do you make muscles stronger? Gotta work them. How do you make your bones stronger? Gotta work them, right? If you just sit around eating calcium, if you just sit around eating protein, your muscles get stronger. If you just sit around eating calcium, your bones get stronger. Gotta work them, man. Weightlifting is the best thing for your bones. Exercise, does it boost motivation? I swear, if you exercise in the morning, you have higher motivation, you get more done, you're more productive, and you make more money. For sure, 100%. Ask, you know, Richard Branson, Sir James, right, self-made billionaire, they ask him, Sir James, how do I get more productivity out of my employees? Work out. That's his answer, one word, make them work out. That's it. Exercise fosters neuroplasticity. So neuroplasticity, your brain is pliable, it changes. You exercise, it literally changes connections in your brain. One thing I love is when exercise goes from a stressing to a blessing for someone. I'll never forget Kim, who I didn't have her on there, but she's down about 100 pounds. Very, very positive attitude. When she showed up, she's like, I'm going to be gone in a week. It's like, well, nice to meet you. That's cool. That was like 2 years and 100 pounds ago, right? So she never thought she'd work out, thought it sucked, hated it. Now she can't go without it. Went from a stressing to a blessing. Stick with stuff. And what's really cool is like healthy eating and exercise, it tastes really good. I think it's really fun. It's like I have fun, I enjoy my food, and you get to be healthy and have a pretty nice physique on top of it. Isn't that cool? I mean, it's just, you get there, man. One of the things too, I like, you know how when you got your smartphone? This is me anyhow. I got my smartphone, I'm like, no way am I gonna figure this thing out, right? And then all of a sudden you're like, how did I ever live without this amazing thing? That's how healthy eating is. At first it's kind of daunting. Like, how am I gonna do this? How do I figure this out? And then once you get into it, it's like, why didn't I do this sooner? This is so much easier than I thought it would be. Especially in today's day and age where we have the internet. It's like, how do I cook X? Google. How do I do this? Google, right? You don't have to go to the library and look up the Dewey Decimal System to find a recipe book. You know what I mean? And you don't have to buy recipe books. There's literally millions of good recipes online for free, right? Next slide. Here's the thing with exercise too. One of the best way to actually get is to lift weights and do intense stuff, right? Jogging, you know, this cardio. I hate the word cardio. But if you look at sprinters on a track, do they look amazing? Are they out jogging all the time? Or are they just intense? Boom, go hard, lift weights. That's how you get the good physique. You gotta build muscle and eat. You know what tone is? More muscle, less fat. You know where you get that from? Hard training, weightlifting, eating better. Fair? That's tone. Next. Don't really like that word. So if you just look at like distance guys, next slide. Sprinter, yeah. That's kind of building, right? Next, and here's the thing with running, if you enjoy running, run. But mix in some sprints. Get the intensity up. Get the intensity up. I like the physique in the middle. Isn't that a sexy physique? She's like one of those pentathletes. She doesn't even have legs, man. And she's still super, super chiseled. Next slide. I always show this is very important. This is Susie. She comes to our office. So Susie, she's as sharp as any of us, right? But she's never walked a day in her life, right? You know what she would give to do a burpee? Seriously, guys. You know what one thing is exercise is a gift. Burpees don't suck. Thrusters don't suck. Running, none of it sucks. It's a gift. It's awesome. We just got to appreciate it more, man. We take it for granted, and there's people like this that would give anything to be able to do what you guys can do, right? So don't ever take exercise. It's a gift. And you know, there's going to be days where you're hurting and you don't feel good, and you take the day off. That's perfectly fine. The next day, back at it. Cool? Right? Just enjoy it, man. I really thoroughly look forward to every workout because it really is a gift. And I know no matter how well I take care of myself, there's going to come a time where I can't do some of the cool stuff I could do in my early 20s physically, right? That's 20 years ago. That's tough, yeah. Next slide. Next slide. This is just use big weights because that makes you nice and muscly. Next slide. So here's this, guys. Just think about this. Let's say if you started eating good and exercise and all it did was help you lose some weight, would it be worth it? If all it did was have you more energy, would it be worth it? Think better. Would that be worth it? If you just picked one thing, it'd be worth it, yes? But it would do so many things, so it's just so worth it. Next slide. And here you got two choices, right? There's two. You can keep doing what you've always been doing and stay right where you are, or probably get worse, or change. And in 6 months, you're better. I always future pace. Think of your future self. Think of yourself in 1 year when you make all these changes and how good you'll feel when you're down 50 to 100 pounds. Think about that. Visualize it. Like literally visualize. Write it down, too. There's a power of that. Visualize it, write it down. Work for it. Think how good that will feel 1 year from now when you're at your goal weight and maintain it. Wouldn't that be awesome? Or think about like your wedding day, how great, you know what I mean? Just visualize it, work towards it, plan your future and start going. Next slide. All right, there's kind of this. So this is what it's all about. Lisa on the left, when she started, once in a while in La Crosse, got the Sweet Bluffs, I'll just send out a mass email and say, hey, I'm going for a hike. If any members want to come hike a bluff with me, I'll be here at this time. Let's do it, right? Because that's a good workout, yes? Here's what's cool about bluff hiking. Like if you're fit, it's really easy. But for someone who's not fit, for her it was impossible. She couldn't even go. Sometimes people ask me, how often do I work out? I work out every day. It's just a lot of my workouts are leisure. Like leisure for some people that are fit, or you know what I mean? I'm just always active. But anyhow, she couldn't come on the hike. And then next slide, a few months later, she got fit. And the next hike, she brought her kid, right? We went on about 4.5 miles. I got lost. She carried her kid. So her and her kid got to go on this big hike, see the city, experience all this stuff because she decided to eat better and change her life. That's what it's all about. And ever since then, she's been fit and active, and they have a much more active, cool lifestyle. And I love seeing that when I see members that started off that were just very out of shape, and all of a sudden I see them doing Tough Mudders and warrior dashes and taking their kids on hikes and taking pictures doing push-ups on the top of Miller Bluff. And that's awesome. That's what it's all about, yes? More experiences? Next slide. We'll go over some common questions really quick. When to eat? When you're hungry. Fair? Eat when you're hungry. Eat healthy foods. Eating late at night. I do it all the time. Here's mine. I have, at 4 hours after I get up, I have eggs. Midday, I really don't eat much because I'm active and I'm going and I forget about it. And then I have a big supper and I zonk out and sleep like a baby. That's my routine. How do I stop weekend cravings? It's all about your why. If your why is strong enough, you'll have the willpower. It's all about your why. When your why is great enough, you'll have the willpower enough to eat good and plan active stuff. You find a lot of you eat out of boredom. I do, right? If I'm active and doing things, I don't think about food. If I'm bored, then you want to eat more. So be active. How do I get rid of belly fat? Well, you can't target fat loss, right? Actually, what you do is you put Vicks Vapor Rub, and then Saran Wrap, and then stickers with smiley faces. Sad faces grow fat. It's got to be, no. Seriously, you can't target fat loss, but what targets fat loss is just hard exercise and clean eating, right? I can make my bicep grow. Like I can make my bicep grow. I can't melt fat right here specifically. It just doesn't work that way, unfortunately. Weekly meal plan. I don't like meal plans so much. I'd rather you just figure it out and choose healthy foods and learn what to do. Coffee and caffeine. Caffeine's all right in moderation, right? It's just when we get in trouble is when we have a pot for breakfast, pot mid-morning, pot for lunch, pot to fall asleep. You know what I mean? You gotta go easy with your coffee. Portion sizes are huge. If you're truly eating healthy and you hit a plateau, then we've got to start looking at portions, and it's usually the oils and the nuts, fair? At first, I just say work on just healthy choices, Food pyramids, yeah, we went over that, artificial fats. Protein powders, all right, like I said, you should only supplement, right, what you can't get enough of in your diet, yes? It's so easy to get enough protein in your diet, so easy. I'm a 205-pound, pretty fit dude. I haven't had a protein shake in a decade, right? If I'm getting enough protein to maintain 205 pounds, I don't think you guys need protein. Does that make sense? It's easy. Protein's in everything, right? It's hard not to get enough protein. So I don't spend my money on it. If you want to, that's fine, but I don't think you should. Talk about guilty. Is this paleo? I don't know, man. So here's the deal. So paleo started with Dr. Lauren Cordain, and strict paleo is what Whole30 is. You've heard of Whole30? Whole30 is strict paleo with a different name. That's all it is, but they're good at marketing. So, but the problem is paleo's been so bastardized, right? So you have like paleo muffins. There's no muffin trees, you know what I mean? Or they'll say like sugar-free paleo, and you got a half cup of honey. Well, you know, honey's pure sugar. So what I call is just a healthy human diet, the innate diet. Just eat healthy foods, right? And it's kind of paleo, I guess, kind of original paleo, but not super strict paleo. Plant analogy, you went over that. Pre-workout drinks or meals. I don't do any pre-workout meals. Pre-workout drink, every pre-workout drink out there is just caffeine, and they might throw an amino acid in there just to make it sound better. By the way, here's what amino acids are. You got 20 of them. You add amino acids together, and you got yourself protein. That's all it is. And then when you eat protein, your body breaks this protein down into individual amino acids, right? And then your genes have the recipe on how to put them back together in the correct shape and order and form to create cells. Isn't that cool? That's freaking amazing, right? Think about it. You can take a piece of spinach and your body breaks it down and makes cells. Like, holy crap, that's mind-blowing. That's really cool stuff. So yeah, pre-workout, post-workout, there used to be like this metabolic window thing. You got 30 minutes to eat sugar and protein or it's a waste of time. There's nothing to support that whatsoever, like nothing. So the way I do it is I work out hard and then next meal I have is a healthy meal. Is that really simple? I mean, it's really this easy. What about exercise? We talked about that. Calorie counting. I don't like counting calories. We talked about that because a calorie isn't really a calorie. It's so deceiving. You gotta just choose healthy foods, choose whole foods, do it consistently. And you guys, here's the thing. You know when you're cheating, yes? You know when you're cheating, right? So please, if you're cheating, you're doing bad, don't blame anything other than yourself. It's really, really hard to outdo a bad diet. The more you cheat, you just make it hard on yourself. It's tough. And the thermic effect, that's what we talked about, where if you eat 100 calories of protein, it takes about 30% of that just to digest it and break it down. Next slide. Let's see. This is huge, man. Community, right? You're an average of the 5 people you hang around most, yes? right? Find a group of people that challenge and inspire you. Spend a lot of time around those people, and it'll change your life. And that's why I like group fitness, groups. I train harder when I'm around other people. I'm a motivated dude, and I still do way better when I'm around other people. Cool? So this is a good group. This is where you got people, and you ask questions and make friends. And don't be shy and say, you know, maybe let's get together, cook some food, or let's hang out and do something productive instead of going and getting smashed at the local watering hole. You know what I mean? Do productive stuff. Be good with people. Questions you're going to ask. I think I answered most of them. One thing that I always do when you sit through my lecture, I mean, go to my site and spend much time on it and just Google Dr. Sis fish oil vitamin D. It's so good for you. And Danny's got really good stuff. And for sitting through this, if you buy fish oil, you get vitamin D for free, and vitamin D is usually $19, so that's a pretty good deal, right? Tonight only, she'll do that for you. Any questions? Or did I answer all of them because I've done this so many times? And if you're shy, you can come over and ask me in person. But somebody's thinking something, or no? Or did I get them all? Yeah, all right.
Okay, I'm gonna say it. My downfall is chips.
Yeah.
I know you talked about it. Okay,
Right.
so what's my whole what?
Just
A
don't
whole
eat 'em.
what?
There's no
Whole
match.
good food, a whole what? You can have
Eat something crunchy. So here's one.
Yeah,
Carrots are
cucumbers.
good crunchy. Cucumbers are good.
Okay.
Yeah, but
I'm a crunch for that. I could care less about sugar.
right. Carrot
As far
crunch.
who?
Carrot crunch.
Uh,
Yeah, sand. Sand is crunchy. Pebbles.
If you like guac, cucumbers and guac is amazing.
Yeah.
Okay.
Better than chips.
But you gotta, you
I
know
don't
what I
know,
mean?
chips is a hard thing.
I mean, sometimes you got your two legs, right? Like, I love chips, would love to be fit.
Yeah.
You can't really have both. It's just one of those things in life. What's that? Kale chips, you try those.
Yeah, they come out crispy for a second and they
Yeah,
soft.
you're a picky chip.
I am. I'm a chip
I've never heard of
connoisseur.
a chip snob. Too crunchy, too soft. Just right.
That's right.
That mattress princess with the pea under it. What was that old
That's
stuff?
right.
Yeah, the Three Bears or something.
I am a poor
Goldilocks.
Any other non-chip questions? Seriously, no question? Oh my gosh, I did so good if I already answered all of them for you. But yeah, well, cool. That's that. You just got to go apply it. Yeah, and then you know, you go to me. There's tons of resources. If you go, just search Dr. Sis recipe books, meal, smoothie. You know, good smoothies at home. I have grocery shopping lists where literally you just walk. It's all written out. You walk in the store. Is this on the list? Nope. Oh, I probably shouldn't eat it. It's that easy. You just got to apply it. You guys know. You know what to do. You just got to do it. Yes? You all know what to do, right? You can buy any gimmicks. Magic pill. You know what the magic pill is? It's huge. It's this big building full of exercise and good foods at the grocery store. Fair? All right, guys. If you want some good stuff, get it from Danny.
Thank you.
Yep.
Thank you.
Every time you look at Legos, you're thinking carbs. That's unfortunate. I'm gonna bowl. Is that all right? Me personally, what would I do?